How's it going, everyone? Hope you're all having a wonderful day. In today's video is all about how to mix big room leads. There's going to be two sections in this video. The first part is mixing with VST plugins, external plugins, and the second part is mixing with FL native plugins, just in case people watching do not have these VST plugins I'm using, just so you can still learn something from this video. But without further ado, I hope you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new here, and let's get straight into this. Enjoy. So a very quick disclaimer before we get into this. I'd just like to point out that this will not work for every single big room song or for every single preset. So don't expect to use this mix chain I'm using to make your track sound amazing, because it may make your song sound worse, it may make it sound good. But yeah, I'd just like to point out that if you do copy this mix chain, don't expect it to be incredible. But yeah, without further ado, let's jump straight into this. So I've made two different patterns here, VST and FL native. We're going to start with the VST ones because you'll be very surprised what FL native plugins can do. I've recreated Maurice West's track, the kick drop melody. I've recreated that for this tutorial. So let's start with the VST one. As you can see, the mix chain, I've got 4 leads for each one. They're the exact same leads. We've got 4 leads and a reverb carry, and we've got 2 buses. For the VST bus, we've got an OTT, which is a free plugin. You can download this. Anyone can download this. Go to exfer.com and search OTT and you can download this for free. I've got it on a 30% depth and turned the out gain knob up 1.3 decibels. And as you can see, I'm actually using a fruity VST itself. I'm using the blood overdrive. This is a very, very powerful plugin. Ollie James recommends this as well. This is a very, very good plugin for being an FL native one. Next, we have a Noveltech character from Plugin Alliance. Very, very good. We've got it around a close to a 75% target on mode 2 with just under a quarter of the character. This has a lot of power. And then we have an EQ cutting off the low end because these 3 plugins create rumble. Pro Q3 fab filter doing some frequency sweeps, getting rid of some of them harsh frequencies. If we turn them on, I'll show you. And if we solo out some of these ones, you'll hear them very resonant. Very, very harsh frequencies. If you cut them out, it makes your leads sound a little cleaner. Just with these on their own, it sounds like this. If I turn them on one by one, you'll hear the leads slowly come to life. Straight away you hear the Noveltech character, makes your sound jump out of speakers. So does OTT. It's a very, very powerful plugin to be a free plugin. Next we have the Glue compressor, very, very powerful compressor. I'm using the Glue mastering preset here. This just glues all the leads together, squeezes them together, makes them sound like one. Next we have a Dada Life sausage fattener, very, very popular plugin. This just gives it that extra bite, that extra grit on the saws. We've got around a 10% colour and a 2% fatness. This just makes it a bit more gritty. Just pushes some of them frequencies out, makes it more aggressive. And then we finish off with an EQ again, just to make sure we finalise and cut them low frequencies out because we don't need them. Then what I do after that is I link the group bus into a reverb bus. Funnily enough, I'm using reverb 2. You can use whatever reverb you want. I like reverb 2. You can use Vintage Valhalla, Tower reverb, Fab Filter reverb, acoustic reverb, whatever reverb you want. And these are the settings I'm using. Very huge reverb, and of course I have a reverb carry to clean it up a bit. And very important, sidechain. Sometimes I use LFO tool, but most of the time I use Kickstart. You can also use Volume Shaper if you have that, but I use Kickstart with the 3 punch preset on 90%, and that sounds like this. And finally, I just want to go through each of the leads, cutting out the low end on each lead. We've got a S1 wave stereo imager to make this one wider. And then we have an imager again to make this one more center on mono. So that is what I've got for the VST mix chain. We have some FL plugins there, and yeah, it sounds pretty good. So now we're going to head over to the FL native one. I've turned them off again. If we go to this pattern here, it sounds the exact same. It's the exact same sound. I've done the exact same processing, but instead of using a wave stereo imager, I've used a fruity stereo imager. It does the exact same thing. You pull the knob to the left, it makes it more wider. And again with this one, we make it to the right to make it more mono and center. Exact same thing. Now we look at the bus. We use a fruity fat disc on around a 25% mix level. Again, fruity blood overdrive, very powerful. Sound Godizer, this is sort of a multi-band compressor sort of. EQ to do the same thing, cut the low end out. We had another fruity blood overdrive, but this time I've turned the color up just to add a bit more brightness to the leads. And again, like before, cut the low end out just in case we create any rumble with these distortions and stuff like that. And again, we've copied the exact same reverb preset because it's a fruity reverb plugin, so you can use this. And we end off with a gross beat for the sidechain. I'm not a big fan of gross beat sidechain. I know Martin Garrix and other really popular DJs use this. I prefer Kickstart. We use gross beat for the sidechain. And now if I turn all these on one by one and you can hear them come to life, you'd be very surprised on what the FL native plugins can do. So now if I actually compare the two, so this is the VST plugin one. And what I'm going to do right now is chop half of the VST one and use the second half of the FL Native. We're going to play through these 8 bars and we're going to see if we can hear any noticeable differences between each mixing. So here we go. So we're going to start with the VST, end with the FL Native, and let's see what this sounds like. So they sound very similar to each other, so you actually be surprised what you can do with FL Native ones. But of course, I really prefer the Noveltech character. It just adds a bit more spice to it. I also like to use FabFilter Saturn as well. Sometimes it adds a very nice character to your leads. And of course, Sausage Fattener adds a really nice character to your leads as well. But if you don't have them plugins, no need to worry. You can still get powerful big room leads with FL Native plugins. But that is pretty much the video done. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. I wanted to keep this video quite short. I didn't want to ramble on too much about the big room leads. But if you want me to make a more in-depth video on lead mixing, maybe for another genre, then I can definitely do so if wanted. So comment below if you want that. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed. Like the video if you learned something, subscribe if you're new, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.